All right, guys, so here it is. So we get the question all the time of like, what is it that you look at when you are thinking about purchasing a property, rehabbing a house? Maybe you're just going to look at it for a wholesale deal. Maybe you're looking for a buy and hold, right? Whatever strategy that you're looking for, what is it? When you look at a home, what is it that you're looking for? What surprises jump out at you? What's the current condition of things? What are the things that I need to be on the lookout for, all right? So we're at a property that we're actually going to start demoing tomorrow. We already bought this property. It's a 4-unit home that we're actually going to make into just 2 separate townhouses. All right, I'm going to go through the whole entire thing for you so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm looking at as we go through the process, right? So it's going to be like when I'm first walking up, okay, to the home, I'm taking like a big picture of it, all right? So right now I just walked into some leaves, so I got to take care of some landscaping right out in the back, right? Landscape is one thing. So I check out the landscaping. Just so you can't tell, it's a busy road. Right? But no, so I'll check out the landscaping, but I'm also looking for the major things like the roof. What sort of condition is the roof in? How old is it? Is it 3-tab shingles? Is it architectural shingles, right? So a 3-tab shingle usually has a life of about 15 to 20 years, okay? And an architectural shingle has anywhere between like 25 to 30 to 35 years, depending on what it is, okay? Don't get bogged down by too many of those details right now. We'll work our way into it, but that's something to look at, okay? This one actually has architectural shingles, was done within the last 8 years. Perfect, it looks like it's good. There's no sagging, there's no bowing, the shingles aren't coming up at all, so it looks solid, so I was very happy with that. And then I look at the exterior of the home, siding. What sort of siding does it have? Is it vinyl siding? Is it regular wood clapboard siding, which is what we see a lot in this area, right? Older homes just like this, a lot of these older homes have asbestos siding that we have to be aware of as well. Asbestos sometimes can be a tricky word. People get nervous about it all the time, but don't worry about it. I'll even get into it in this home because there actually is asbestos in this home and we already have a remedy for it that we're going to take care of, all right? So let's go take a look at the property. We're going to go through it step by step. All right, so now we're inside, right? So this is so when I first mentioned that this is a 4-unit property, right, that we're actually going to make into 2 townhouses, okay? The other problem with this property that we had to solve was parking. There was no parking here. There's only 2 spots that were outside. It's actually a shared driveway. People need access through here to get to the other apartment that's behind here, okay? So how is it that we're gonna take care of a parking problem? You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna make this area that I am in right now, this is gonna turn into garage space. We're gonna be getting rid of, right now there's 3 windows there, okay? And we're gonna put a big garage door in there, 1 single big garage door. We're gonna get rid of all this area right here. It's gonna blow out, we're gonna bring it all the way to the back. So it's gonna be a great spot. It's gonna be 1-car garage parking underneath here with a nice little storage unit, and it's gonna take care of a major issue, which would be the parking thing, right? We're here in New England, right? We get a lot of snow in this area. It's great if you can have it covered up throughout the winter time. One of the other things that is very important, and I mentioned asbestos earlier, when we bought this property has been cited for asbestos, okay? Now, if you look down here on the floor, this used to be some mastic, this used to be a tile that was down here. Now this black glue that they put the tile down on, that's actually, back in the day, was made with asbestos. So there's asbestos inside that. Now, there's multiple ways you can get rid of this, okay? The most cost-effective way to do this, now again, city to city is different, town to town is different, state to state is different, whatever it would be, so check with whatever your state regulations are. But whatever we have here, and asbestos, usually the problem with asbestos is that when it gets airborne, it's the dust. Same with lead, okay? So actually, you can grind this whole entire thing down and get rid of it, but that would mean you have to put plastic everywhere, containment, get HEPA filters and fans, blow air out, everything. Instead of doing all that, we can encapsulate it. So we can actually leave this here. We're going to pour a leveling surface right over it because this is all chopped up a little bit, especially when we get rid of these walls, it's going to be chopped up. We're going to pour a nice little pad right there, and then we're going to put an epoxy floor right over it, and it's going to encapsulate this, so it's never going to bother anybody ever again, and it takes care of the asbestos requirement that they're looking for in this home. So little tip that you can look at, asbestos, okay? just can't be airborne. You have to dispose of it properly. We also have windows here that we have to dispose of properly because there was asbestos in the caulking that they used for these windows. So we have to have someone that can come in here and remove it and dispose of it properly for us. All right, guys, now this is the other side. This is the right-hand side, the other unit, left-hand side if you're looking at the building. Again, same thing we're doing on the other side, right? We are clearing this out. This is all gonna turn into a parking garage for somebody. The other thing that we have to do here, though, we have to put an egress step. So we have to have steps that go up to the next unit. There used to be steps that were here at one point, you can tell, because it was framed out that way, and then they just boxed it all in. We're gonna bring the steps back in so that everything is gonna be completely separate. Everyone's gonna have their own front door. No one's gonna have to, commingle in that little common area, common space. It'll be perfect. So we're gonna have steps going right from here, right all the way up, right into their kitchen landing. So it's gonna come out great. All right, so major things that I like to look at, right? So big ticket items: roof, siding, windows, electric, heating system, all that stuff. Those are big ticket items, can cost more money, also can cause delays in the project if you're not properly taking the right steps to get it done, okay? Now this right here, at one point they put the meters inside this home, okay? Now, I don't know when they did this, they don't look that old, but current code of what it is, so again, we go to the building department as well. So going to the building department is always important. Pulling the proper permits is always important. Make sure that you're doing it the right way. Make sure you're having licensed carpenters, licensed electricians, licensed plumbers take care of the stuff that you need a professional to do it, okay? Very important. You don't want to cut corners on that stuff. You think you might be saving money, but it's gonna come back and bite you in the long run, okay? I promise you it is, it's happened to me before. So what we really wanna do is, this electric cannot be inside here anymore, okay? The meters itself, like having these circuit breakers, that's okay being inside, all right? But the way that they wired this, having these meters, they want these outside. So we have actually put already a panel outside that these meters are gonna be transferred into. I just wanted to make a point of making sure that you're following the steps. You're looking for these things that might need to be taken care of along the way. All right, guys, so what we have over here is, as I mentioned, right, it's a 4-unit, we're making into 2, but all we have for heating systems and hot water here is 1 hot water tank, and we only have 1 heating system, okay? Now that's okay, not a major thing, but there's much more value if you're able to split it up and you have every single unit have its own hot water, electric, everything, separate utilities is gonna be a bigger bang for your buck, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna build a wall right here, and we're gonna put wall-mounted tankless hot water heaters right here. It's gonna separate everything, new baseboard heat throughout the whole entire project, and it's gonna look beautiful, and it's gonna come out great, and it's gonna add value. Like I said before, like the major things that we want to look at is electric, right? And heat and everything. So circuit breakers, this is something I always look for as well. So sometimes, this is great. This is a 100 amp circuit panel that has already been put in. You can tell it was rewired already. So this is perfect. The other unit already has one as well. Sometimes what you're gonna find though is that these places, especially this age, has like the little small fuse looking ones, or they got the knob and tube wiring throughout. There's definitely knob and tube in this home as well that still has to be taken out, and that we know that, and I can show you how we know that a little bit later. But this is definitely a huge plus that this has already been upgraded to a circuit breaker service. So that's great. All right, guys, now I came into the first apartment, right? So here we are in the kitchen. You can see it's kind of dark in here, not a lot of room. One of the things that I noticed right away actually is, if you look at these exterior wall over here, there is baseboard heat on the exterior wall, which really is never a good thing to have because you're actually just losing heat right outside right away. Especially here, because this is old horsehair plaster that we have here, and if you look in here, there's no insulation inside there, right? So you're literally just heating the outside as soon as you put this thing on, okay? So this is all getting pulled out. This is all getting demoed. We're gonna have to put all new insulation in here as well. We're gonna move this baseboard heat away from the exterior wall. Also, what we're gonna do is we're getting rid of these 2 windows. Why are we getting rid of these 2 windows? The reason being is because by getting rid of these 2 windows, right now as it exists, I can't put a countertop on here, right? Like what if I put a countertop here? It's only gonna be this high? That doesn't make any sense. Like all this space is dead unless we take these windows out, and what we're gonna do is put one big window up top here, which would be like where the kitchen sink is gonna go when you're looking out. It's gonna be just like a picture window of some sort, so we'll still get natural light, and then we're gonna be able to utilize that whole entire space over here for more kitchen cabinets, for the refrigerator, however the final layout ends up happening. For lighting, they've already started a little bit of lighting in here, it looks like. We're gonna end up putting 4 cans, is what I call them. They're little wafer cans, inexpensive, not a big deal, but we're gonna do that right away. Also, what we're going to do is take this whole entire wall down. This wall right here is gonna be taken down so that we have a much bigger flow going through. It's also gonna bring in a bunch of natural light from the front of the house. The front of this house has all the natural light that it is. So by taking this chimney out, by taking this wall down, it's gonna open everything up. We're gonna be able to put a great island right in here. It's gonna look beautiful, okay? And it's just gonna open everything up. Over here, it's gonna be, it's like this little nook. It's already got a, I envision that being a pantry. So there's 2 ways that you could go about this, right? You could make this area a pantry, or originally we were thinking about possibly putting washer and dryer hookups in this area as well. We found a different location for the washer and dryer, and we'll show that to you in a second. So that's the plan for this kitchen right here. It's gonna look great. So that other area besides making the washer and dryer over here, okay, so this is kind of funky. And again, the flow of this place is just a little off. So we're trying to utilize it, right? So now if you come into here, this is the first floor full bathroom, okay? Now you could tell that they've done some work in here a while ago. It looks a little dirty, but this doesn't function at all. If you think about it, I mean, look where they put the toilet. The drain for the toilet is right here. So if you think about it, sitting out here, this is where you're gonna sit for a toilet, and then the sink is actually all the way over here, and there's like no room for a sink at all. And they have a full shower in here. There's not a lot of room here, right? We can't steal any room from over there. We don't want to take any room from the kitchen, because the kitchen and living room area is where people live and where they spend all of their time. So what is it that we're gonna do here? We're actually gonna get rid of this tub. You could do a stand-up if you wanted to. You could just like a 3/4 bath, they call that, right? So you could just do a stand-up shower if you wanted to. But we're not even gonna bother with that. We're just gonna make this a half bath. So there's gonna be a vanity and a toilet, and then we're gonna do a washer and a dryer on this one. So you're gonna have first floor, washer and dryer here, half bath, and then you're gonna still be able to use that other spot for a nice big pantry where you can store all your stuff. This is the living room area, okay? Now, like I had mentioned before, on the other side of this wall is where the kitchen is. We're gonna take this whole entire wall down, okay? We're gonna keep this wall up. This is probably where someone's going to mount a TV. It's either gonna be right here, or it's gonna be on the other wall that would be over here. I'm thinking that, it doesn't matter, they can do whatever they want. We are gonna probably do some sort of an accent wall, which is always good to kind of break things up. So I'm kind of thinking of a little bit of an accent wall over here to add a little bit of design into the home, just because of where the home is located, the time period of the home and everything. It'll come out nice. And then off of here, now this right now actually has a closet in it, and it gets a ton of natural light in here, okay? So you could definitely call this a bedroom. It's a really tight bedroom though, okay? Like it's literally 8 by 10, 12, okay? So this to me feels more like an office. So we're gonna keep the closet, so it can still be a bedroom if somebody wants it to be a bedroom. But to me, especially nowadays where there's so many more people that are working from home, this is more of a rural community anyways here, in that people actually work in the city, but they can live here. You're only about an hour away from Boston, Massachusetts, but because so many people are living from home, it's great to have your own dedicated space if that's what you're looking for, so you can work and live right in the same building. So I had mentioned earlier, one of the major things that you have to look for that costs quite a bit of money sometimes, right, is, besides the roof, besides the siding, besides the electrical, besides the heating systems, would be windows, okay? Now these are old windows that were put in a long time ago. These are single pane. They actually have the weights in them, so they get the weights in the side. And again, these ones were actually, the caulking was cited for asbestos, okay? So we need to make sure that we take care of that and get rid of the asbestos. So we've already contracted an environmental disposal person remediation company to come in and take care of that. The great thing about these windows, though, that when we bought this property, we actually got, the owner had already ordered 28 replacement windows. So we actually got 28 replacement windows in the contract that when we got it, which is removing and installing the windows. So that works out great for when we bought it. But again, these I would probably budget for on a typical one if I was to flip it ourselves. Turn these around, I'd probably carry about $350 per window to get these taken care of and replaced. And there's 28 of them throughout. Do the math, adds up quick. So while you're looking at this room right here, you can actually see a couple things. They've kind of started doing some updating on the wiring here. Those are new outlets and new switches that they had put in. Remember how I talked about that there might be some like knob and tube and things to look for? So knob and tube is old single wire, okay? It doesn't have a ground, right? You know how you look at the outlets nowadays, there's 3 prongs, so that bottom prong is the ground. Old knob and tube doesn't have that. So if you ever see an outlet that doesn't have those 3 prongs, excuse me, then it might be knob and tube, it might be called what they call single wire, okay? Now, also, to look out for it, some people can't, you can't hook up a single wire onto the newer outlet, okay? So it's something to look out for, but if you look right down here, when you see an outlet like this, down here, that's on baseboard and it's horizontal like that, and it only has those two holes, those 2 prongs right there, that's a telltale sign that that's knob and tube wiring somewhere inside your walls. So, like I mentioned before, we're gonna make these into 2 condos, okay? So the makeup of them are really gonna be 2 bedrooms, 1.5 bathroom when it's all said and done, with an office / 3rd bedroom downstairs, okay? Now up here, there is actually 3, what people will call 3 bedrooms right now, okay? So there's a bedroom in here, you walk around this way, there's another bedroom in that one, and then you walk forward here, and there's another bedroom. Now, this is kind of what you see when this time period of the home. I keep on mentioning the time period of the home. So this was built in like 1890, just so you know, okay? This is really, I'm a small guy, okay? And like I can touch the ceiling right here, and then these rooms are really tight. So to keep this into 3 bedrooms, we could, but why do that when we can actually make these into 2 good sized bedrooms and then put a full bath upstairs, and it's gonna be much more functional, okay? So we're actually taking off the whole back part of this roof. Now I know I mentioned earlier that the roof is in good shape, and it is in good shape, and I really hate to have to take it off. The back part of the house, so the front part of the house is gonna stay the same. What we're gonna do is do a shed dormer in the back part of this roof, and it's gonna blow this whole entire place wide open, give it so much more room, okay? And we're gonna just take all these walls down. These are all just partitions is what they're called, okay? So a partition is something that isn't load bearing, okay? The wall that we're taking downstairs out, the one between the kitchen and the one that goes into the living room, that's a load bearing wall, which means that we either have to put a support in there or we're gonna have to do it engineered with an LVL engineered beam that goes through there, all right? Again, if you're using qualified, professionally licensed contractors, they know all of this. This is who you should be using, and you'll figure it out and know exactly what you're looking at the more experience you get. But these are just certain things that you want to look at. You just don't want to start going in there and start ripping down walls and find out, oh crap, that's load bearing, and then all of a sudden your roof caves down on you. Not a good situation to get into, okay? Now I mentioned what we're gonna be doing with this project, right? Now, just because that's what we're doing with this project doesn't mean that that's what somebody else might be thinking about doing with this project, okay? So I'm looking at this project as a condo conversion, okay? I could look at this as, hey, you know what? I can keep this as a couple 3-bedroom apartments upstairs like this. It's gonna cost me less money to get it done and to keep it this way. And I can rent it out and I can start cash flowing quicker on it. If that's my theory, if that's my thought that I wanna hold this as a buy and hold, okay? That's never a bad way to go either. me taking off the back of this roof like we're doing, that could be a big project for someone that's just starting out. It might not be the best way for you to go about it. Maybe the best thing for you to do is to just keep it as it is, not dig too deep into it, right? Stop peeling back that onion and getting more and more involved in the project, okay? Because there's gonna be surprises in this building that we haven't even found yet and that we haven't seen yet, but that's okay. What we do is in our rehab budget, we do make a contingency plan for that, okay? We do a 10% contingency plan inside our rehab budget for unforeseen things. Always happens, so you gotta be prepared for it, all right? So make sure you're prepared for it. Again, just because that's the idea of what we have of making this upstairs level into 2 bedrooms and a full bath, right? Because we're changing that full bath downstairs into a half bath with a washer and dryer. That doesn't mean that that's how everybody has to do it. You got to do what's best for you, what's best for your time frame, what's best for your goals, what you're trying to achieve inside your real estate investment game. So remember how I mentioned about the knob and tube and how you need to look out for the outlets that are kind of like horizontal on a baseboard. This right here coming out of the ceiling is old knob and tube wiring. It's called single wiring, okay? Look at it. It's actually like a cloth wiring that can cause a problem, be a fire hazard. So that's a big no-no when you're going through, right? So that's what old wiring looks like, okay? And then we're gonna pan over here and look at what new wiring looks like. That's what you wanna see, all right? All right, so we've run through this home. One thing I didn't mention that I always do when I'm initially running through everything is I take pictures and I take notes on my iPad, okay? Or my phone, whatever I happen to have on me, okay? They got the Notes app inside the iPad or your phone, whatever it would be. I jot down little things so I can remember them, and I take a bunch of pictures of everything. So when I'm going over when I get back into my office and I'm looking at comps and I'm actually putting my rehab budget together, I can go back and reference things that I saw there that I might forget, right? I'm gonna forget. You're gonna be looking at properties all the time, okay? You're gonna get them mixed up, you're gonna have problems with it, all right? Document it as you're walking through. It's also good if you take the pictures and you can say, hey, I got a picture of this, boom, snap the picture, send it over to a plumber that you're working with, send it over to an electrician. Hey, what do you see here? What could be a problem with it? A professional is gonna be able to take a look at it and say, hey, that's no big deal, we'll just do this, we'll do that. Or, man, that's actually a bigger problem than you think because of this and that, all right? So it's always good to take pictures, document it, not only for your own, so you remember everything, but also so that you can ask professionals their opinion on what a cost might be. All right, so that really wraps up the tour here, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, all right? Please reach out to me. Any questions whatsoever, I'm always available, right? REI Accelerated, Gordon Thornton 2 on IG. Hit me up, let's talk, let's get some deals done.